Hey everybody, it's Doug here. How you doing tonight? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all is well with you. It's been a few days, almost a week, since I've actually stopped to film anything because life's been busy, and I'm sure you all understand how that gets. But most recently, one of the most recent things I did was an unboxing of a game called Hand of Fate Ordeals, which is based on a really cool computer game called Hand of Fate and Hand of Fate 2. If you want to check those out, do so. They're really fun. They are board game-like with some elements of real-time combat and everything. Pretty neat stuff. I played them both. However, that said, when I saw that Hand of Fate Ordeals was coming out, I had to jump on that bandwagon. This game is produced by, let's see how good my Rule and Make, and also Defiant Games, I guess. So, yeah, Rule and Make is the producer. It says it takes about 90 minutes, ages 14 and up, and 1 to 4 players. We're going to play not cooperative, but we're going to play 2 players. I just want to show you how that gameplay works, because I think most often you'll be playing in a competitive fashion, though I might come back and do perhaps the cooperative game and see. Or even the solo game. There's a completely solo version as well. That said, we're going to do a basic game. Now, at its heart, this is a deck builder, but it's a deck builder with some exploration, some resource management, etc., which is kind of neat. So, typical of a deck builder, we're going to start with a hand of cards, and that hand is going to get better and better over time. And with that, we're going to be able to adventure through this fantasy world, encounter things, better our weapons and gear, and our health, and all them good things, as we go along. And to do that, we're going to be playing sets of cards that are going to provide us with new resources, allow us to do things like gather food, all with the ultimate task of killing the bad guy. Now, there are 3 bad guys in a typical game of Hand of Fate. One of them is the Jack of something. Now, we have already drawn our enemy. I'll just show you him briefly. I really like the artwork. It's very reminiscent of the actual game, which is kind of neat. This is the Jack of Scales. So when the Jack of Scales encounter is revealed, each player resolves 1 pink card, but we're not going to do that because this is the This is the first enemy that we have to defeat. Now, I think you can play it down, but when I was looking at the rules, it said to have that one turned up already. And maybe when we reveal him or encounter him on the board, because we will, that will mark the difference. So, anyway, I'm going to also put in a caveat. This is a blind playthrough. I have read the rules. But I do this often, and sometimes people get frustrated with me because I do, because I know that there's a room for error when you do this. But I am going to be playing this completely blind, right? Which means that even though I've read the rules, I haven't done any of it, so there's going to be some errors and some challenges, and I want you to see that so that you can see what you encounter when you play the game. Now, also, there was a ton of other stuff that came out with the Kickstarter. I'm not going to show all that in this session because there's other things in the game that came out, like the solo and expansion and campaign stuff for cooperative gameplay. Yeah, so we're going to get right into it. First, let's take a look at our characters, and they both start the same. So I'm just going to show you one, and I'll show you the miniature for that character. Even though the character portraits and their names are different, how they start is identical. Here is Estrella, and Estrella is, as you can see, we have a player board. Now, these player boards are 2-sided, and I can play either side, okay? But I think the text is harder to see on this side, so I'm going to play with a side that's easier. You can see that this is our health track up here. We have a built-in weapon, which is a rusty axe. You can see that it doesn't have any special stats, but we can attach 2 additional combat cards to that. You'll see how that plays out. This is our deck over here. And our deck starts off with a number of cards. We'll just show that as we play. We get an offhand weapon, it's going to go here. Our primary weapon is going to be here. We can replace that primary weapon. Even though this is printed on the board, I can lay something over it. And this is where we have stuff like that we can buy and gather throughout the gameplay. Now, it's pretty basic. We're going to deal out a hand of 5 cards. We're going to play with those hand of 5 cards. So we have Estrella. Movie magic. Here's her mini, and a pretty cool mini. I like the fact that she's got a gun and a sword, even though that's not really currently representative of her character. The minis are good. They're board game quality passable. Okay, so let's go over and take a look at the other character just for a brief moment, even though technically he's the same. Here we have with Kolbjorn actually is how it's spelled, so it's Kolbjorn. This is him right here. He's got this cool weird thing on his back. I'm not sure what it does for him, but I don't think anything. It's just like a fur cloak. He's got these 2 big swords and his big bald head. But that's him, and they are both going to start in the town here, and you can see there's spaces beneath the board that you can put your characters. And this is the world that we're going to be exploring. It's a small world to start off with. This is the level 1 world locations that we have. And there's different layouts of this. Like if you're playing the solo, or I think it's the actually cooperative campaign, the layouts of the board will actually be different. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to gather food, gather resources, and explore. We can't really explore without food, but we can press our luck and take damage, or press ourselves and take damage to do that, to actually continue to explore. While we're moving, there's a whole bunch of things we can do. We can prepare to fight, and we can buy things. Now, let's take a closer look at the town. I'm going to pull that card off the board because it's a little ways over on the other side of the board for me, so we can take a closer look at it. I'll probably do this with each of the cards as they come out or as we use them. This is a location. It's basic. This is always going to be in the game, the town. It says spend a whatever to destroy a card, one card in the dealer's row. I think that's a, I can't remember what the actual names of all the symbols are, but I believe that's, it's like might, or there's effort, something else, and something else. Food's one of them, but I can never remember the resource names. I'm really bad about that, because I've played so many games that all the resources are going to be different in these games. So I'm trying to find it real quick, but I think we'll just move on and say we know that that's like basically your might. There's effort, might, and food, and I think well, they're called attack cards. It's power. Okay, it's attack power. So yeah, you can do that. And also, what this shows here is that you can buy anything in here. There's one of the cool things about this, it makes it different as a deck builder. You can only, in some locations, you can't actually buy the cards you might want, because there's a couple different types of cards. There's trickster cards, there's adventuring cards, which are the green ones. There's, I think, I don't remember what they call, like, they're fighting cards, combat cards are the red ones, and then there's the common cards. And so we're going to take, when we're in town, we can buy stuff like that while we're there, and then as we explore different locations, we're going to get different things. We're going to have encounters, weird things are going to happen. Here's another resource, nice big metal tokens that came with the Kickstarter. They're cardboard if you just have the basic game. These are relic shards, and this is a big relic shard. I think it's worth 3 as opposed to 1. And these are basically represent, if we were to kill the boss, we all get to then purchase relics, much more powerful cards, with our relic shards. And that's what those are. We'll gather those during the game. You also have, and again, this is a Kickstarter version of it, so you get these nice food tokens that we'll be using. That will be get together food. We have a nice first player marker there, which is a big sword and a shield. And then we'll talk briefly, and we also have these cards which are mark how many things we can do on in a space. Like some of the adventure areas, you can only access them so many times before they basically run out of juice, and you can't do anything with them any longer. And we'll see that as those things come out. When I talked about the relic cards, these are the relic cards right here. This deck, this massive stack of cards, are what make up our action row, the cards that we can purchase, right? And again, they all have different abilities. So like if I were to purchase this Blaze of Glory, which costs 5, then I would have this ability. It says Soldier card. Soldier, that's what it is. It's an attack card. I can extend my weapon. You can see it gives me a power of 2. So when you assign this card during combat, you may have it gain 2. If you do, destroy it after combat. So it can gain 2 when we attach it as a combat action. And you'll see there's lots of different games, lots of different abilities and items that you can get. And then there's actual items, like see this is a shield breaker. It has a 1 as opposed to the attack card of the Rusty Axe on our board that has a 0. It can hold up to 3 cards in play, attack cards, soldier cards, and it ignores the protection ability of an enemy. So that's a really good weapon. It costs 3. It's not that bad. Now, if we end up needing to replace that weapon, we can, I think it's called archive it or stash it. And when we stash it, it actually means it goes out of the game, but it gives us a victory point. Yes, there are victory points in the game, and we'll be getting them as we play. Okay, a couple more things. Now, because I preset this up, I'm just kind of running through this. This is our enemy deck. These are all the bad guys that we're going to be encountering during the game. These are the enemy leaders. This is the Queen, the King, and the Jack right here. These are the additional location cards. I don't know if I'm going to continue to play through the King and the Queen. We'll see how this game session goes, how long it takes. But those are there. We also have here, over here in this corner, these bad luck cards. They're basically going to clog up our deck if we end up having to take some of those. And you know how that works. If you played a deck building game, they make your deck less effective because they're there, they exist, and they don't do anything. These are pain cards. These are the cards that basically do us damage. So when we have to take a pain card, we're going to draw from there. And we also have this cool card. This is like in most deck builders, you have that card you can always buy if there's nothing else to buy. This is that one. No matter what you do, you can always buy a flourish card. And a flourish basically gives you 2 effort. And effort is the basic resource that you need to buy things. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's basically how it's going to go. So I think we can start. We're going to play around. We'll just play around in this video because I've done quite a bit of explanation, and we'll see how it goes. See what happens with this game. Now, again, going to be trekking up this score track as we go. I'm playing a 2-player game with, of course, Estrella and Kolbjorn, and we're going to see how that goes for us. Should be a lot of fun. All right, let's get started. Okay, Estrella is going to be the first player, so we're going to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to put the rest back. I hope I shuffled them well enough. We're going to see. I got a stride, forage, strive, and hack. So basically, I actually did get a pretty good spread of cards to show you a number of different things that we can do. Well, so this is easy. We're going to put these in our play area, which are going to be right above our board. And we're going to say, what are we going to do with these? Okay, well, what can we do with them? Well, this forage, for example, we can get some food. So that's going to be pretty easy. We can always do that. And we're going to divide them into the types of cards that we have. So now we're in town, so we're in a good place to do some stuff. I don't think we're going to move this turn because we really don't have anywhere to go, right? And this first, the first turns are always usually pretty light. Now, I can attach this hack to our rusty axe, and I probably will, but if I do that, every time that we start a turn, and I'll talk about the turns real quick, we're going to talk about the player actions, okay? We're going to do the fatigue first. Now, in this first round, there's no fatigue because we haven't attached anything to our weapons. But if I attach the hack maneuver to my rusty axe, next round, when this character goes again, we're going to have to do the fatigue turn, which means I'm going to have to spend effort to continue to keep that card attached to my axe. That's okay. That's built in the game. It's meant to have happen. We can explore. That means we're going to move to a card. Now we can look at that card, but we don't have to activate the encounter. If we do activate the encounter, it's going to end our movement. We can acquire stuff. We can spend stuff to get things. And again, that would end any movement that we do. And then we can rest, which is our end turn, and we draw up to 5 cards. So this turn, of course, is going to be pretty light, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we know we're going to discard the forage card to get ourselves a bit of food. Now the food just goes right here on our player board. We don't have to do anything crazy with it. That's it. Then I think we are, in fact, going to attach this hack card right here. You can see that we're basically powering up our weapon. So right now, this gives us a 0. We can attach 2 cards to it, and we have 1 hack power, 1 power with our attacks. And then we have 3 things, 3 resources, right, to buy something. Well, what do we want to buy? I'm kind of leaning toward that weapon. It costs 3. But unlike other deck builders, there aren't really any duplicate cards in this game. There's only duplicate types of cards. So you have your weapons, you have your skull, your sneaky stuff, the blue cards, which are these, like this one, this hidden hand. It's a trickster card. It says it doesn't give you any resources, but it says draw 1 card, then discard 1 card. You play another trickster card. If you play another trickster card this turn, you may destroy 1 card in an ally's discard pile. That's really bad. Destroy means out of the game, so you could take out something really powerful of theirs. I don't know if that's useful for us yet. We also have Blaze of Glory. And again, I'm not going to do this every time, but I just thought I'd show you what we have available to us. This costs 5, so we can't buy it anyway. It is a soldier card. It gives us 2 attack if we attach it to our weapon. It says when you assign this card during combat. We read that one already. Then we have Pathfinder's Knack. This is a adventuring card, or wanderer they call it. I think they used to call it adventure. That's why it stuck in my head. It gives you 1, and it says at the end of combat you may move to an adjacent encounter. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Automatically moves us to adjacent encounter after a combat, right? And then this one is another soldier card. It's Flurry. It doesn't give us a bonus, but it's got a plus there. So for each soldier card bound to your weapon, you gain a +1. That's pretty good. Then we have one of these cards. This is another wanderer card. It's Ascend, and it's 5. So we can't buy most of these cards, but we can buy that mace. It says if 6 or more encounters are currently revealed, we gain, these are basically fame, which are victory points. And then last but not least, and I might as well hold on to this one because it costs 3. And it says it's a one-handed weapon, so that means we can put it in our slot, same slot as the rusty axe with no problem. It does allow us to stack 3 cards out there. It's pretty cool. And again, it ignores protective abilities. So let's take a look at that. Now, there's nothing in the rules that say if I attach a new weapon, I lose the thing I've stacked it with. So that cost us our 3 effort, which are part of our strive cards. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Those go in our discard pile. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's going to be all of our cards for Estrella. And again, this turn's taking longer. I'm explaining it in more detail. And now we have this shield breaker weapon that we have. Now again, if I stash this later on, I'm going to get an experience point for it, or victory point, which is called fame. Again, if I do any of these cards don't have that. They're just because they're our basic attack cards, action cards. Anyway, that's a pretty good start for her. She got a new weapon. Now immediately, a new card will come out. Let's see what we get. We get Cautious Strike. It's a Wanderer card. It says gives us 2 attacks. It says you may discard this card from your weapon to avoid an ambush. Well, that's pretty good. That may be something that we get and attach to a weapon pretty soon. I don't know if Estrella is going to get that or not. Now, following the turn order, we did all that. We didn't move because we don't have any resources to do that. I could spend this food now to move, but we're not going to. And then we are going to rest. So in the rest phase, we basically draw our next 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, that's all there is, right? So we're going to have another 3 strive, another forge, another strive. So we've got 4 strive and a forge for next turn. That is going to be our hand. All right, let's go on to now our good guy Kolbjorn and see what he's going to do. He's in town too, so it'll probably be a very similar turn for him, except he doesn't have a weapon. So we'll just give us a quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we get with him. We got strive, 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 forage. Well, okay, this is going to be a pretty easy turn for him too. We'll spend the forage to get a resource. Now, they suggest that you always put your stuff in the played area until you're done. So we'll put that up in the played area. We played that. And we're going to play our 4 strive. Now, 4 is pretty good, except almost everything in there cost 5, except for a couple of things. Now, you know what? That Cautious Strike, I do like that one. And I do think we're going to get this. This Cautious Strike that helps us avoid an ambush later. That cost us 4. We can attach it to a weapon, but it's going to go in our discard pile, so we won't be able to play it this turn. So we're going to do that. We're going to buy that. That goes in our discard pile. Cost us all 4 of our strive, and then we will clean up. And now again, we didn't have to do the fatigue phase because we didn't have anything out there. We're just going to do a simple action, and that is in fact our first round. So we did pretty good. Now you notice we didn't go anywhere, we didn't travel, we didn't do anything like that. We both got a little bit of food in our bellies, or ready to put in our bellies, and then we can move on and continue with our exploration. So I think though, guys, that this isn't going to be a horribly long video, but I think that's a good one to get us started, because in the next turn, we got to draw our hand up. Let's see. Obviously, it's going to be very similar. Strive, strive, forage, hack, and strives. So that's going to give us some more food. 2 food. We'll probably get some movement done this turn and see what we can accomplish, right? But we're in a pretty interesting place. We already got a good card for Kolbjorn, and we already got that shield breaker. And I think Estrella's ready to go out and do some fighting already. Huh? What do you think? I think so. All right, well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Again, this is going to be a quick, short video just to get us started. One more thing before I leave you. Got to put a new card out. Can't forget that, because, you know, you can buy ones. Ooh, look at this Estrella's pistol. Now, I don't know how... This is an offhand card. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be in there, but it says increase the binding limit of your weapon by 1 if you are on the same space as another player. You may assign one of your bound attack cards to an enemy when they are in combat, so you can shoot at them. That's interesting. That's going to be out on the board. I don't think that's supposed to be in there, guys. I'm going to put this aside for a moment and check. It's got a... doesn't have the normal cost on it. I'm going to put that aside and check and draw another card out. Yeah, that makes more sense, right? Claymore of the Wild. Now, maybe those are... I didn't go through the decks and see if I accidentally mixed anything in that shouldn't be there. So we'll take a look at that. This is probably more appropriate. Claymore of the Wild, pretty heavy. It's a heavy weapon. It means 2-handed. That may be good for Kolbjorn, though. It's got a 0+, can handle 2 cards. It says for each Wanderer card bound to this weapon, gain 1. So we can gain some pretty tough stuff. It's going to cost 5, though, and that's out on the board now. All right, sorry, guys. That's going to be it for now. So thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this quick playthrough of Hand of Fate Ordeal. It's probably just going to be a few episodes. I don't know. I don't know how long the game... It says 90 minutes. Could be more than a few episodes. We'll see. But we'll talk to you next episode. Now, again, I did a lot of explanation in this one getting us started, but it'll move faster as we go, and the turns will become more interesting. But that gave us a good start. So thanks. Talk to you next time.